All right, it's time to go over my top 10 tight ends for week 13. We're going to waste no time here. Get right into the video here at number 10. We're going Hunter Henry. Now, this is a tight end that I saw, I was trying to talk to him about maybe earlier in the season before the season actually kicked off and said Hunter Henry could be a really good fantasy sleeper. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They don't really have any wide receivers. Well, he didn't really do that well early on in the season. But once Drake May took over, he really used Hunter Henry as his safety blanket. We see that week in and week out. Hunter Henry's getting the targets and he's at least producing 50+ yards each and every week. So we're loving what we're getting from Hunter Henry and this football team. So we're looking at this week, they are taking on a Colts defense that ranks 25th against opposing tight ends. He's a consistent target, monster almost for Drake May at this point. Like I said, when he needs yardage, he needs somebody that he knows can catch a football and can have a secure catch, and that is Hunter Henry. He is a proven veteran at this point in his career where he can make a lot of catches. So if you're looking for a tight end, really say, okay, who do I need to just stream tight ends, or who do I need to just throw in here? If you got any availability to get Hunter Henry, he's a really good tight end to have. I think he's a good value play for you too. Easily number 10 for me. Move right along here at number 9. I'm going Jonnu Smith. He approaches my top 10 for the first time this season, and I had to put Jonnu Smith in there. He's just proven to be a solid fantasy option, right? He's not blowing the tops off the door, but let's just face it, right? To make it to the top 10 tight ends, you don't really have to do too much. So not all these guys are prolific tight ends that's blowing the socks off of everybody and putting up all these fantasy points. You need somebody in the top 10. At least I put him in the top 10. If they're consistent at getting you some fantasy points, and that's what Jonnu Smith is doing. Tua Tagovailoa is looking for this guy. He's targeting him quite a bit, getting touchdowns, getting everything you need. I like myself some Jonnu Smith, and he showed that he could do this last time when he was over there with the Falcons. So Jonnu Smith's a good tight end. Right now he's getting an opportunity to be the man for the Dolphins, and he's really showing out. But this week they are taking on a Packers defense that ranks 23rd against opposing tight ends. He's been surprising all season long. I was saying, he's a surprise, right? Nobody even had him on their draft boards. I don't think anybody really drafted him whatsoever, unless it was maybe your last pick in your fantasy drafts. But he's really shown out to be a productive tight end. And we know, year in and year out, you don't have a ton of tight ends that you can really depend on. This year, it just so happens Jonnu Smith, it's his year. So like myself some Jonnu Smith, get the guy into your lineup. I think you'll be happy that you did. Let's move right along here at number 8. We're going Evan Ingram, right? This is a tight end that really gets locked in from Trevor Lawrence, right? He wants to just throw it to his guy. It doesn't matter if Trevor Lawrence is there, Mac Jones is there, everybody's just locking in on Evan Ingram. And I think he produces that way, right? He doesn't have phenomenal games all the time, but I think the targets alone makes him an option for fantasy football. I mean, even Mac Jones at the quarterback position isn't terrible for Evan Ingram, so he's an option. So I'm saying he's an option. But this week they are taking on a Texans defense ranked 6th against opposing tight ends. Negative game script could really mean a heavy volume. Let's just call a spade at this point. They're not beating the Texans. It's going to be a negative game script, and they're going to be in the passing opportunities a lot. Could be a lot of 3 and outs, but they're going to be passing the ball. That means Evan Ingram will probably be the first read option or second read option on every single play. Love myself some Evan Ingram. Get him into your lineup, especially if you're in a half PPR or full PPR league. I think it's just good enough to have have a safe floor there to get you enough fantasy points to get you through the week. I like it. So let's move right along here at number 7, TJ Hockenson. I had him last week on my rankings list and saying, look, he just needs an old TJ Hockenson type of game. Well, he got that last week. A bunch of targets, putting up a bunch of yards. He's doing it, right? He has the talent. It took him a little bit to get his legs under him, but now he's steamrolling. Him, Justin Jefferson, Sam Darnold, they're really packing it on. I like what TJ Hockenson is doing. This week they are taking on the Cardinals defense that ranks 7th against opposing tight ends. He looked amazing last week, and he wants to continue doing that moving forward, right? We've seen consistency from TJ Hockenson last season when he played with Kirk Cousins. So we know that he can do it, prior to the injury. Now, after the injury, we saw him put up a game like that. You know he can do that week in and week out for you. So TJ Hawkinson's a great play here in week 13. I think he's going to continue to do that for you all the way up into your playoffs, your NFL fantasy playoffs. And I think it's going to be phenomenal for you. So if you drafted him knowing he was going to miss the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season, you put him onto your IR spot, you used a draft pick for him. Well, he's paying big dividends for you right now because he's able to put up the numbers that he is. Get TJ Hockenson into your lineup easily at number 7 for me. Move right along here at number 6. We're going Taysom Hill. This is kind of the jack of all trades at this point, the Swiss Army knife of the offense. Yes, we have him listed here at the tight end position, but let's just call a spade a spade. He plays running back, he plays fullback, he plays wide receiver, he plays tight end, he plays quarterback, he plays everything. Right, so he can get you there's a lot of different avenues for you to score fantasy points with Taysom Hill, right? And this week they are taking on a Rams defense that ranks 24th against opposing tight ends. Like I was saying, he's a jack of all trade, and offense is missing some pieces. they're missing a lot of pieces out there. That's why they're using him so much, right? So Taysom Hill can go out there. You can slot him into your tight end position, and he can get you 100 yards rushing and multiple touchdowns. I mean, yes, sir. Sign me up for that. Taysom Hill, phenomenal play here in week 13. As long as they keep using him the way they are, he's gonna be a top flight tight end every single week. So get the guy into your lineup. I think you'll be happy that you did. Coming here at number 5, we're going David Njoku. This is a tight end, right? That's really starting to blossom now. Now again, yet again, we went over this last year, right? With Deshaun Watson, Kakadudu, right? Joe Flacco comes in. Wow, you got David Njoku. Guess what? Deshaun Watson, Kakadudu. Well, now you go Jameis Winston. Hello, back into the fold right here. So fantasy football goes, Jameis Winston slings the ball all over the field. And one of his main targets is David Njoku, whether it's touchdowns, whether it's screen passes, whether it's little out routes, whatever the case is, you got a big body tight end like David Njoku, you need to give him a lot of opportunities, and that is exactly what they're doing. This week they are taking on a Broncos defense ranks 10th against opposing tight ends. He's a huge part of this offense. And like I said, when you have a quarterback like Jameis Winston, who's not afraid to throw the football, it doesn't matter if he gets an interception or not, he's just slinging the football all over the field. Well, that bodes well for your pass catcher. So it's really good for like your Cedric Tillmans and Jerry Jeudy's, who's been doing really well. And obviously your tight end and David Njoku. So I like what you see from David Njoku. I think he's easily a top 5 tight end for you this week. I think he's going to go out there and get a lot of volume, which is going to give you a lot of fantasy points. Get the guy into your lineup here in week 13. So move right along here at number 4, we're going George Kittle. This is one of those tight ends I used to always label as like a boom or bust type of guy. And I'm just saying he's more of a boom than a bust this year. I mean, maybe because it's been all the injuries, whether it's been, Christian McCaffrey or Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, all these guys being injured. The one guy who's been healthy, it's been George Kittle, and he's doing a lot well. Now, without Brock Purdy there, sometimes it can be a little bit more dangerous. With Brock Purdy, he's absolutely phenomenal. We'll have to wait and see if Brock Purdy actually plays this week or not. But I think overall, you got to say George Kittle is one of your top-notch type tight ends for any given week, right? This week, they are taking on a Bills defense ranks 12th against opposing tight ends. He's been a stud all season, like I said, an absolute stud. No one's been able to really slow him down or stop him. I think he's doing absolutely phenomenal. And when you have a tight end that is as talented as George Kittle, he can win you a week any given week. And I love to see it. Get George Kittle into your lineup. Easily a week 13 top tight end for me. Move right along here at number 3. We're going Trey McBride. This is a guy that's getting a lot of opportunity. You saw what he did last week. Just absolutely blew up the entire fantasy football world and was easily the number 1 tight end on the board just because of what he can do. I mean, Kyler Murray targets the guy a lot. It's either him or Marvin Harrison Jr. There's nobody else on this offense. So they got to give these guys a lot of workload, right? But this week they are taking on a Vikings defense that ranks 9th against opposing tight ends. 15 targets last week. I'm going to say it one more time just in case you didn't hear me. 15 targets at the tight end position. Yeah, that's juicy. That's really juicy. Trey McBride is just doing some crazy things. Now, as far as this season goes, when he has a boom game like this, like a 15 target game, the next week he doesn't really do that. So that's why I don't have him as my number 1 tight end. Maybe a lot of the sheep in the industry maybe do that. Say, hey, look, he did really good last week, so he should do really good this week. Again, I think he'll do good, but I don't think he's going to have a 15 target game. Right, so I had a couple guys above him. I kind of use my own analysis, my own brain, my own thinking when I'm putting together my rankings. But that's why I have him here at number 3 for me. Easily, though, a good tight end for week 13. Get the guy in your lineup if you have him. It's no question whatsoever. Love Trey McBride this week. Coming here at number 2, I'm going Brock Bowers. Right now, the biggest hit with Brock Bowers is going back to Aiden O'Connell at the quarterback position. What are you going to get from Brock Bowers? He's still going to be targeted a lot, right? But is Aiden O'Connell, does he have the accuracy enough to get everybody involved? Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. He needs to. He needs to, but this week they are taking on a Chiefs defense ranks 29th against opposing tight ends. Should still be targeted a ton, and against a Chiefs team that allows a lot of points to the tight end position, probably because they check down the ball a lot because everybody's cockadoodle against the Chiefs, right? They just blow everybody out. So I think Brock Bowers is going to get a lot of opportunities, whether it's Aiden O'Connell or not. So I still got to put him in here at my top 2, and a lot of people say, why do you have him in your top 2? Gardner Minshew, cockadoodle too. Cockadoodle do. It what is what, whatever. At this point, it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. They just need to be able to throw a catchable ball in the vicinity of Brock Bowers and let him catch the football and score a lot of fantasy points for you. And I think he can do that. I think he can do that. That leads us to number 1. We're talking Travis Kelce. Back again at number 1 in my rankings. It's been a while since we saw Travis Kelce as number 1 in my rankings, and I think he deserves it, right? At the beginning of the season, I told you guys, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are going to start a little slow, and they're going to end the season a little bit faster because they're ramping up for the NFL playoffs, and that's what they're doing. And it's helping you in the NFL fantasy football playoffs. when you go into those playoffs, you're going to have Travis Kelce hitting on all cylinders. It's going to give you a lot of fantasy points. So I really like to see that. This week, they were taking on a Raiders defense that ranks 30th against opposing tight ends. No one on this defense can slow down Kelce. Let's just call a spade a spade. This is a divisional matchup. And the Chiefs loves going in there and absolutely blowing up the Raiders week in and week out. Anytime that they play them. So there's going to be no slow. They can't slow down the tight end position, let alone Travis Kelce. He's going to have a bomb game. I think week 13 is the week for Travis Kelce to go absolute ham sauce. Get the guy into your lineups. Guys, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below, right? Who in the top 10 did I not put in there that you think deserves to be in the top 10? Let me know in the comments below. We can have a conversation. Guys, we're putting out, I would say 3, 4, 5 videos sometimes every single week, right? We want to make sure to give you guys the best information possible so that way you can consistently make the best choices when you're setting your lineup, because ultimately our goal here at the Bayou Bingo Fantasy Network is to get you to win a championship. That's what you're going to do year in and year out. I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.